I always had dreams of playing at the highest level. So to be able to forge out a career spanning 10 seasons, 243 games and multiple championships, immense pride and joy.
You're listening to Conversations at Government House, featuring interviews by the Governor of Western Australia, the Honourable Kim-Beazley AC.
Kaya.
Greg Hire is one of WA's favourite basketball sons, a 4-time NBL Championship player with the Perth Wildcats. In this fascinating chat with the Governor, we learn so much about another side to this sporting role model. A West Aussie full of compassion who dedicates his life to helping young people navigate the challenges with mental health.
Welcome to Conversations at Government House. It is a privilege to have you here. You're a mentor, you're a role model, you're a sports hero, but very heavily identified with the Wildcats. So what did being a Wildcat mean to you?
Oh, thanks, Governor. Obviously, extremely honoured to be here with yourself. It's you get asked that all the time. And for me, I guess that's, in a nutshell, it meant everything to me. It's given me the profile that I can still continue doing the work I do now. But taking it back to growing up in the KGB, or as they like to say, as a West Australian, Kondula Girraween Balga, I always had dreams of playing at the highest level, and that was the NBA. And not blessed with athleticism, the next best thing was the Perth Wildcats. So to be able to forge out a career spanning 10 seasons, 243 games, and as mentioned, winning multiple championships, immense pride and joy, and also as well because it's been tough. The journey isn't that of a traditional path, so it's something that I obviously hold real close to my heart. But it means the world to me.
You didn't have an easy journey. What was it like for you when you were a young fella? Yeah, no doubt. Remark that my parents came over here as refugees from Hungary. We grew up in Balga, where it was a tale of two different tales, really, highs and lows. One, I had new best mates every single week because I had a new family immigrating from some sort of country every single week. My mum was a babysitter. That was her primary occupation. Why? She didn't know English. The only way she'd learnt that form of language was from door knockers or Jehovah's Witnesses. And so to look at that and how challenging that may be for her to then being in a privileged position of running outside, running in front of 13,000 fans is remarkable. Fast forward my own life, and even as a young fella now of two beautiful children, I had to do intense occupational therapy as a 6-year-old, 5-year-old. I didn't know how to really walk as progressively as you expected at that age. I wasn't running, and I even think my passion of basketball maybe have started in a warehouse in Malaga, because that was what I was asked to do, was to learn how to catch a basketball, learn how to dribble a basketball, learn how to throw a basketball. So it's sort of ironic, for a large factor of my life I did that. It's definitely been challenging to then progressing as an adolescent, where unfortunately really had no structure in my life, really struggling with my own expressive thoughts, self-worth, self-confidence, and had no real role models in my life. Didn't have a father figure that could, I guess, teach me the ropes or whatever it may be. So where drugs and alcohol, unfortunately, were really prevalent in my life, it's obviously something I'm not proud about now. It's shaped the human I am. It was tough. So then now looking back at that, there's no resentment. There's a lot of, you look at it in a different light, and I think hence why I do a lot of the things that I do now. Yeah, it's really interesting to look at your biography and to look at how you've handled your life. You do from time to time mention people who have been helpful or mentors in it, but quite frankly, looking at it, and I don't know, this might be something important for people to comprehend. You actually really hauled yourself up by your own bootstraps. You made calculations about yourself. you got to understand that the broader atmospheric in which you're operating, you seem to have been able to discern from it things that you could drag out to stiffen yourself. Is that so?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you obviously have to be responsible for your own actions. I think the environment that I was in, unfortunately, was pushing towards a way that could be not only damaging to myself but to others. I have a massive admiration for teachers. It took one teacher in my life to reach out and provide me some guidance, some support to sort of say, here's a road. Now, if you take that road, it could lead to some success, which obviously I took. I obviously needed to take that responsibility. I was blessed with height. I'm 6'6" on a good day, so that sort of was a good thing for me. But yeah, ultimately I needed to make the decision: did I want to continue living a life that was not appropriate, or did I want to do something a lot more for myself and for others?
And the brilliant basketball was a product of occupational therapy, from just picking up what you said there and answer the previous question. Yeah. It's not a way many West Australians go. You're also the height of an Aussie rules ruckman. So 6'6" helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's and basketball isn't a traditional sport here in WA for sure. Look, I think obviously coming from an Eastern European background, basketball is the revered sport. AFL isn't common. Hungarians wouldn't even know what it is. And it was only being in high school, but I had no clear school. I've got a massive love for it now, but I've been fortunate with some opportunities. We were talking a bit earlier before we came onto this conversation about how front-end loaded great sports stars' lives are. The great moment of celebrity occurs very quickly in terms of your age span, and then people have to, what do I do with the next 50 years of my life? And sometimes they do well, other times they don't. But in your case, you've really devoted yourself to the issues that you've seen that surrounded your life. Tell us more about you formed an organisation called A Stitch in Time. Tell us about it. Yeah, I launched it back in 2014 off the back of two significant events in my life. My brother being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and a close friend of mine trying to take their own life. And a space of that obviously rocked me. I was living the ultimate life, professional athlete, getting paid well, secure contract, and had the admiration of fans. But I couldn't help but be consumed by those things. I mean, how could people that are close to me, how could I impact their lives? How could I educate myself to educate that? And back then in 2014, that was a selfish act on my behalf, wanting to help those two people directly. Now from that, 7 years later, indirectly, the organisation has significantly grown. I think obviously because of the awareness around the importance of mental health, just in an organic and pure way, but as well as my passion in knowing that it can actually impact lives in a real significant way, and through developing relationships, the experiences that I've been able to have, I get asked a lot about my highlights as a Perth Wildcats player, and there's no doubt the 4 championships. But I look at the lives that I've been able to impact away from the court as more significant than any of those championship rings. Knowing that you've been able to impact someone's life by ultimately encouraging them to go seek out the support or to get the tools necessary to provide their own self-care is immense. And knowing that you can ultimately, hopefully, have someone not take their own life is you can't measure, and that's what this organisation has been able to do in its short period of time of being formed.
And you raise money, obviously, associated with it. Is that used to support other organisations like Lifeline or those that involve themselves in the area of preventing suicide?
Yeah, we actually in a space. So when it first launched, as an ambassador of Youth Focus back in 2014, funds were going directly to there, and now I've never been an ambassador wanted to be the face of a campaign. I wanted to be hands-on. Even when we were doing community work with the Perth Wildcats, whilst I would love the community clinic side, I love to be at Princess Margaret. Would love to be at schools reading to kids. I'd love to be at Banksy Hill talking to the inmates. It was those opportunities I wanted to have that impact, and that's where Stitch in Time has gone now. We've been able to, obviously as a registered not-for-profit, we've been able to now dedicate that to get our work evaluated. So we're able to run workshops based off our evidence-based practice into schools and sporting clubs and organisations. That data is invaluable for us as an organisation. I think it's been huge to be able to relay those outcomes that we've been able to achieve through those practices. Of trying to give that preventative in education. I think, we all know mental health is important. The awareness piece is huge. As you mentioned earlier, those campaigns will come around in due time, and there's an importance for that. But I think what COVID has done this year has highlighted the importance of preventative education piece, the importance of mental health. It's highlighted that. And we ideally want to be able to equip individuals with those necessary tools.
You've talked you're in about 40 schools, aren't you? Something like that?
Yeah, significant. We've, in the last year, and maybe because of COVID, our growth has been significant to 40 schools. We've developed some significant partnerships with some state sporting organisations, which, I think that's the beautiful thing that we've been able to do as well, is a lot of athletes are wanting to give back with their own story. Sports is a platform, it's a captured audience. You've got individuals there, and unfortunately, I think it's no longer a time where people come to sport to escape, or they do escape their reality, but now you can actually leverage it and use it as a tool to help manage someone's well-being. And so that's what we're doing as well, is using sporting clubs and sporting organisations to promote the importance of mental health as well.
When you interact with the kids, do you sense with some of them that you're interacting with that most of them just be thrilled to see you, but some wouldn't be focused in that way?
Yeah.
They'd be nutting problems out in their own lives and their own direction. Do you notice that sort of characteristic in the people who talk to you?
Absolutely, and not even that. When you ask that, straight away I think of a presentation I ran last Tuesday. To an amateur football club, and you're speaking to a group full of men, and I think of generations or eras where that mental health wasn't normalised. And as you share your story and start discussing the importance, you can capture eyes and you can connect with people that it's resonating strongly with them. And there's something that you want to implore and encourage, to whether that is to go seek out support or to talk to someone because they know they're concerned about. You instantly can see that connection. It's the same as schools. You sit there and the amount of information that students consume on a daily basis is phenomenal. And when you sit there in front of a classroom, and I remember of my time as a bit of a class clown and a jester and high school students, you connect with a student that's the one that's a bit quiet or sitting in the corner with their head down, but once you start sharing your story and being vulnerable, they can't help but be consumed as well and listen. And that's the powerful, at the end of the day, if you connect with one individual that may change their life in a way, it's a win. It's huge. And that happens, no doubt, every single presentation.
One person we've I discussed with Tracy Weston, and who's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she has sort of set up a scholarship